Hello everyone and welcome back to the video. So today we're going to be doing a follow-up to my booming guide, which I'm going to hopefully have my editor put a picture up right in the center of the screen so you guys can go watch that video if you haven't already. But it's another sort of booming guide that I put up on YouTube, and this is going to be the follow-up because a lot of you guys had questions in the comments, and a lot of comments were like, oh, this is great, and now I know how to boom, but every single time I play I get forward castle. As it happens, I am one of the best defending players when I have more economy, which is exactly what this booming style gets you when you get forward castle. You're on defense, but you have more economy. In this video, I'm going to go ahead and run a simulation boom, and then around minute 14 or 15, or let's say a bit later, around 15, that's where the forward castle is going to hit. And around 16 minutes is when the castle's up in your face, and you have to deal with it. And around 16 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what kind of options you want to go for, and exactly how to react to that forward castle. Now, obviously, in this version, we're going to be playing against the standard AI, so they're not going to forward castle us. We're just going to play pretend that my opponent has a castle forward and some kind of unique unit. It's not going to matter. I will just show you the defense, and it will come down to like more micro, battles between you and the opponents in a real game, anyways. And I also want to add on top of that is that I will not only show you how to respond, but I'll also show you guys some really good tips if you can predict that the castle will come. So what I will show is the worst case scenario when you commit to 3TC boom, but I'll also talk about some nice tips that you can do if you know the forward castle is coming 100%. So we're going to go ahead and do a random arena game. And I actually landed Dravidians. Fantastic. So we're going to hop right in here and do a standard build. So if you guys are already familiar with this, you can feel free to skip to where Castlage kicks in. But it's always a nice reminder, and in this time I will talk about some really important things. So if you guys have time, just listen and sit back while I do the Dark Age. I've done this Dark Age like 10 million times, so you can watch it an extra time. I'm sure it's not going to kill you, it'll probably benefit you. So the reason why I went random to start things off here is that I want to show you guys that you can think on the spot what kind of reactions your civ can do. Because the reactions you can do depend a lot on your civilization, and it also depends a lot on the opponent's civilization. In this case, we've got the Dravidians, and if we're going to be castle dropped, usually the civ will have a good unique unit. Something like, Conquistador, something like, maybe Turks with Janissary, something like organ guns from the Portuguese, etc. It's going to be some kind of unit that is strong out the get-go. You're not going to get castle dropped usually by someone like Persians, because then war elephants are too expensive to make, and it's not going to be the strongest castle drop ever. So in this variation, I'm not going to know that my opponent will castle drop me. It's impossible to know 100%, but sometimes you could expect it. So I'm going to quickly talk about what to do when you expect the castle drop. When your opponent's something like Portuguese, Turks, and you just have a huge hunch he's going to do it, or if you know who your opponent is, you know what the strategy he's going to go for, this is what you should do. So the first advice is that you shouldn't play for the pure boom. You should instead go for some kind of light cav opening, and try to pressure your opponent and prevent him from coming forward with the castle. This is not always possible, and even if you do a light cav approach, good players will make some spears and still come forward with the castle. So it's not an easy counter to the fast castle drop. However, it's something that could definitely help out, and it could be something that, at least gets your unit on the field and lets you respond with something. It makes it a little harder on your opponent, and if your opponent is, maybe inexperienced and he doesn't bring spears, you win the game on the spot. You just absolutely destroy him because he has builds coming forward and you have scouts and maybe one or two spears. You will absolutely destroy him. And that light cav build, it's, you guys probably know this, it's available on my Patreon if you guys want the full PDF, but you can literally watch any arena game of top players where they go light cav and copy it that way. I want to make sure you guys know that your options are indeed available. That's option number one. Option number two, and I'm going to give you guys the game along with it that I played. Option number two is that you actually go for a 2TC boom. So you're going to plant the boom because you're not sure what your opponent's doing. And then you suspect he's going to castle drop you, so you don't commit to the third TC. You just go 2TC boom first. This ensures that you get an economy lead, but you're not heavily committed to 3TC. Okay? And in this case, this is one of my favorite responses because you have a little bit of extra economy, but then you're also easily able to defend, okay? And I played a really good game against Mr. Yo, actually, when he went in the first game, of NEC 5 finals. You can find that on YouTube if you guys are interested. And he basically went forward castle with Portuguese, super fast build. I tried in practice, I couldn't stop it with the scout approach because the pro builds are really fast. So I couldn't stop it with scouts. So instead what I did was I simply went I simply went for 2TC boom into fast div because I was Turks. And with some good micro, I was able to win the game. Again, it's really hard. Portuguese is one of the best civs on Arena, so even if I lost, it would have been okay. But the good thing about that game is that I played towards my win condition, and I played towards the thing that would give me the highest chances of winning, which is why I was able to pull it through in the end. And this brings me to the worst case scenario, which is what I'm going to showcase here. The worst case scenario is when you commit to 3TC boom, and then you get completely caught off guard by the forward castle. This can happen for those who are, those of us who are inexperienced, not sure if our opponent's in a forward castle is. You don't really know if it's going to happen or not. Maybe you were just kind of not paying attention, and you just want to boom and then randomly get forward castle. This can also happen in team games where you're just not sure what's happening, and then randomly the flank forward castles you in your pocket. You're supposed to boom, and then you randomly get forward castle. That's really bad. I messed this up a little bit. It's fine though. So it can happen that you're not expecting a castle drop and that you suddenly have to deal with it. It's completely normal. So in this case, what will we do? We're going to start with a 3TC boom because we're not expecting a forward castle. There's no point to not 3TC boom, in a usual boom build. And then I'm going to show you guys some ways to react to it. And this will be good for both 1v1s and team games, so I hope this will be beneficial. And the last thing I'll talk about before I get into this like proper tutorial here, or explanation, is that if you guys want more content like this, unedited, in-depth guides, it's honestly my favorite type of content to make. Definitely check out my Patreon. I've got a ton of videos exactly like this. And I'm going to be mixing a few of them into YouTube for those who are interested. But mostly I reserve them to Patreon, so I go all out with my tips and I hold nothing back. Okay, now we're done the Dark Age. Now we can actually get into the meat and potatoes of this video. So what I want you guys to understand is that generally speaking, castle drops, right? What is the plan of the castle drop? They're going to be 1TC, low economy. By the way, I'm 6 on wood because I'm Dravidians. Keep that in mind. I use my bonus. So the castle drop will come on your walls, okay? Right here. It's going to come here, maybe touching maybe 1 tile away. And the castle will be able to break the stone wall and break pretty much any stone wall without even a petard. The castle will do it. And then they have a unique unit outside your base and the castle preventing you from like fighting the unique unit too easily. But they have really bad economy at home because they're only 1TC and they send civils forward. Now their follow-up, before I talk about defending a unique unit, their follow-up is either all in castle age, they make a lot of unique unit and maybe siege and push. That's number 1. Option 2, they can go forward castle unique unit and then boom behind it. And option 3, they can go forward castle, a little bit of pressure into fast dim. Those are the 3 options. And no matter what option they go for, we don't care on defense. And I'll tell you why. The first plan on defense is going to be to not die to the forward castle plus a few unique units, because that's exactly what's going to happen in all 3 of those scenarios. And then only after that will we try to think about what our opponent will do and try to counter it. This is high level stuff, so I think most of you will be happy to just defend the forward castle and not die to it. Alright, so here we're going to go market, blacksmith, case our opponent scout because it's an easy AI and he's stupid. Perfect, and we can probably early. Can I afford that? If you can pick it up early, it's kind of nice. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Extra efficiency. Before I click up, I pick it up. Fantastic. All right, and these guys would just go to wood, and we'll click up. So now, again, I'm oblivious to the forward castle. It usually finishes being built around 16 minutes, maybe 15:30 outside my base. So that's the timing I'm really looking at. And again, that's the perfect timing. Hey guys, if you're a low-level player, beginner, or even an intermediate level, you're not going to be facing the best times, which is why this video is really good, because you will make mistakes, but it's okay because the opponent will make mistakes. So as long as you're able to do somewhat of the things I'm showing in this video, you'll be fine. So the first thing I want to look at, our walls will die. We're not going to try to defend these walls. What am I doing here with these buildings? All this time, what have I set up here? I've set up a second layer of walls with my buildings. This is literally insane and one of the best things that I've learned on Arena. So if you know the forward castle is coming, or at least you suspect it, or regardless, to be honest, you should always make your buildings in a sense that they act as a second wall, 8 tiles away from any other wall. Normally near the front. So like if you forward castle's here, obviously it's going to break in here, but then I can just re-wall, no problem. No one's going to do that. They're going to castle drop your front usually. So that's why 8 tiles away, all right, I'm going to make my buildings so that the castle can't kill the market. If I make it right here, he's going to kill the market. That's horrible. I'm going to lose the wall and the market. I can't lose the market. I might need it, So here we'll get our economy upgrades like normal. Again, we're just planning a boom, okay? I want to set the stage here that we're not expecting to defend against the forward castle. And we're going to drop our TC. So, okay, I'm just, going about it. I'm going to make a town center right here. And my map is a bit awkward. I'm lacking wood, but maybe I'll make a town center here and maybe here. Notice that in general, you want to make your town centers close to the back of your base. If you have a forward stone here, do not forward town center it. Do not. That's how you die to a forward castle. So step 1 is you wall up a second layer. Step 2 is that you make your town centers further back than usual, okay? At least your initial ones. All right, so here I'd like, you know, a town center here. I'll just make it here for farming. I'm going to go for my boom. Notice I'm castle 14 minutes. Opponent will likely be similar timing, and he'll start making the castle now. And the castle will finish around 15 to 16 minutes. 15:30 is, I think, a pretty good time. Some civs may be a little bit earlier, but, you know, it's not going to make a huge difference. And now I see the castle. The castle is about to go up, okay? I need you guys to use your imagination. There's no castle. The castle is going to go up. This is the exact moment that this whole video has been building up to. So in this case, we do not have time nor the resources to make a proper unit. I want to make this very clear. I can't randomly start making crossbows, skirms, knights. Why not? I need a barracks, I need a production building, and I need upgrades for all of those options, no matter what it is. Long swords, horrible. Knights, horrible. Light cav, too expensive. It's probably horrible as well. And all of those units like skirms, crossbow, they take so many upgrades. So even though if he's going to go fast castle drop with conks, normally skirms counter conks, fantastic. Why not just go skirms? You can't afford it. You simply cannot afford it. So what do we want to do? We want to play skirms eventually. Okay, we're going to imagine our opponent's conks. We want to play skirms eventually. But we don't get there right away. If we try to do that, we're going to run out of resources and our economy will completely tank. So what we do is we're going to go ahead and use tactics to buy time. The first one is walling. So we're going to go ahead and finish the wall that we started. And that's going to buy us another couple minutes maybe. Because remember, his castle can't break this wall. So now he needs to add siege or use his unique unit to break this wall. And it's not that easy to break a house with a unique unit. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to make some kind of defensive unit from a monastery or a siege workshop. Scorpion, mangonels, like mangonels counter organ guns, for example. They do okay versus janissaries. Scorpions do okay versus janissaries, okay versus conks. Monks do okay versus every unique unit that's not an organ gun, but pretty much. So we're going to go for those units that are okay on defense. And the goal with those units is not to kill the opponent's push. It's to buy ourselves time and control where the opponent can run in. For example, if I do literally nothing, he castle drops me with conks, he breaks them. He just runs through. I have literally nothing. I can't stop him from running through, especially if he breaks my wall. But if I have a couple monks, he's hitting the wall, I can convert him. He'll try to run close to snipe the monk, or he'll run back. In both cases, I'm just buying time. If he comes closer to me, I just run back. I don't even risk the conversion. I just get out of space and then convert him again with my 9 range. He can't hit me, so he has to go back. And he's not hitting my house. When he's doing those maneuvers, he's not hitting the house. I'm buying myself time. Meanwhile, we're going to be 3 TC booming. Let me show you. So here, I would love to make farms. If I'm just pure booming, I'm making farms. But my opponent is actually forward castling me. Wow. So we're going to go ahead and do the steps we talked about. We're going to finish up the wall here. And we're not going to panic. Notice we're not going to panic. We're going to still try to keep some kind of structure going with our economy. Okay? But we're going to go with a monastery first. We're going to assume our opponent is on conks. All right? And for a monastery, we need some gold. So we're going to start taking a little bit more gold than usual. And we're still going to try to squeeze in farms, enough to make sure we're able to sustain 2 or 3 TC production. And we're also going to pick up loom nice and early. So notice in this situation, by the time it's 16 minutes and my opponent's inside my base with a few conks, where can he really attack me? All right? He's going to run straight in, right? He's going to break the wall, run straight in. And he's going to run into another layer of wall. And at most, he's going to pick one villager walling. But if I see him coming in, I'm just walling here, I can just back up. And even on this side, if he can run through on this side, it's not going to do too much because I got my 2 TC structured, okay? Notice I'm just closing the gap to where he can go. And I've got my 3 TC running. Now, because I'm making monks, I have idle time. This is A-okay. Now with this monk, I'm going to be able to buy some time. If he comes in with the conks, I just idle these 3 vills. He can't really run through here because if he runs through here, I'm just idling these, few vills. My TC can shoot, and then he'll start getting converted. And then if he gets converted, he has to choose, do you dive the monk? If he dives the monk, I just, garrison, and I kill a conk or 2 as he runs in, or he has to run back. In both cases, I'm buying time and I'm safe. So in this simulation, I will lose some economy. My economy is not perfect, but it's running, all right? It's absolutely running, and I have some defense. Now, the second thing we have to look for, the next step rather, not the second thing, the next step, is that we simply just want to be safe from his follow-up. Now, if he goes for conks, he's making the unique unit. His follow-up is going to be either booming at home or it's going to be a castle age push, like siege. he can't fast imp after conks. It's not the greatest strategy. Fast imp comes usually after a unit that doesn't cost food. And if he tries to fast imp, he's going to be making very little units anyway. So after I make a few monks, now my economy is in much better shape to start making a proper unit transition. So the first thing I'll do is probably go with a barracks. And if I see him siege pushing me, no problem. I'll make a defensive siege workshop. And I'll look to defend with some mangonels as well. And if this area, for example, is, under occupation by the conks, I literally just build elsewhere. Okay? I build in a sense that he can't stop me from developing. And the most you can do is just idle a few builds. And keep in mind, my economy is still flowing quite well. This area is very hard for him to breach, because they've got this huge wall here. If he tries to break in here, I just bring the monks over, converts. And now I make a mangonel, so I'm able to stall with that some more. And now I want to get to skirms. And look, when I get to skirms, how strong they're going to be. Because I'm not just going to make one range skirms. As soon as the barracks done, I'm going to look to get proper into skirms, because my economy is actually very healthy at the moment. So here I'm going to make a range here. Space is tight, so don't be afraid to make it all the way at the back. No worries whatsoever. And we've got now siege and monk to defend a little bit. We're going to go for 3 range skirmishers, and not just 2. We're actually going to go for the 3rd range. And again, if he's here, you just idle, you convert with the monks, and you buy yourself time. And if you want the real game examples, you can definitely find... again, watch that one I recommended, NEC Finals Game 1. It's a very good one, how, the micro examples can definitely sway the game. Obviously, if I mess up and lose the 3 monks, I lose. So it's hard. It's not easy on defense. But as you can see, now I've stalled. I'm able to afford skirms. I'm able to even save up for ballistics, because I've got a 3TC bare bones economy. And although the boom is not perfect, I have something to defend my base in a structured fashion. And I've got at least a little bit more economy than my opponent, who's usually 1TC for the majority of this push. And the last step I'll leave you guys with here, alright, as I'm getting the skirms out, which would be like the end of the push, really. The last thing I want to leave you guys with is that after you defend the push successfully, you need to try to win the game. And this is what a lot of people check out at this point. A lot of people just stay on defense the entire game. I think this is something I do quite well myself. It's not like an advertisement for me as a player or anything. But a lot of people, they do is they just stop trying to actively win the game. They just stay boxed in with no ambitions whatsoever. I don't like that. Once you get your skirms ballistics, these are now insane versus conks. We usually say that skirm is the best counter to conk, especially with ballistics. Now we need to find a way to push back. And the easiest way to push back in this scenario that we've invented in our minds is to get a castle. So notice I'm going to secure my stone with my army here. I've got my monks in case he has knights. Notice the monks still get value. And now I'm going to go for skirms. The easiest way to win the game is to get a castle, imp, and treb him down. Imp faster than him, clear the castle, have more economy, and be able to actually threaten his base in Imperial Age. That's the win con. Alright? In other games, the win con might be to go all in castle. If I've got like a cav civ, maybe humans, I can cap ram, push back the castle, go all in castle age, and I can expand. It really just depends on the situation. But if I'm going to play towards Imperial Age, no problem. I tried to win back some space. Now with the skirms, I can actually defend myself. I'm not just stuck in my base. And now I'm going to be looking to get the castle age, so maybe some more farms. I'm actually quite crammed. You can always look to expand if you want to. This arena gender is actually very strange, but in general, you usually should get some kind of expansion going towards the back of the base and whatnot. This is, to be honest with you, worst case scenario. I have 0 back of the map and still managing to defend just fine. So in this situation, he can no longer pressure me. And if he's mangonel warring me, I just make more mangonels. I can afford them. Again, because I start with the monk siege, which is probably the most important part of this video. Because I start with the monk siege, I'm able to defend myself. The last thing I want to talk about here as well, before I transition to Imperial Age, is that in the team game scenario, if you get doubled, okay, so castle drop and then knights from the other guy, so 2 people on you, you want to do the exact same thing that I showed, but you have to have in your mind that you will probably die because you're getting 2-on-1. In that case, your main goal is to buy as much time as possible. All right, buy as much time as possible and hope that your flank can carry or have some counterplay, or maybe the other side can win. All right. So at this point, we want to just continue to employ standard rules. Try to get us up to imp. We can use the market a little bit since our economy is a little bit tricky. We have a good amount of units to defend ourselves. We're going to be looking for that castle. And the best part about this, we don't need our buildings to go up to imp. We already have a university, siege workshop, and monastery, so we're already prepared to go up to Imperial Age. And it's just a matter of getting there, which we can help a little bit of help with the market, and we get there. Notice that I skipped heavy plow. This is important. In the booming guide, I got heavy plow early because that was really good for booming. In this video, I skipped it. Didn't pick up heavy plow. I still picked up bow solo because that pays back rather quickly. The heavy plow takes too long, and so we just rather skip it. And now we can either decide to pick it up, or we can look to push back an Imperial Age properly, like 100% go for the pushback, and look to get our castle. Enemy castles here, we get our castle here. And we're looking to push him back, trap him out, and then go for the 200 pop. Notice, we're right back to the same game plan of trying to get to 200 pop with full upgrades army. So I have skirmishers. What else goes with skirms? Let's say my opponent's Spanish in this scenario, so I need, okay, skirmishers. Maybe then I switch to halbs. I'm scared of him going paladin. Let's go halb. So skirm, halb, bombard cannon. And maybe instead of skirms, I switch to arbalest, assuming that my opponent might have a cav switch, which is very natural, because if he goes conks into boom, which is one of the plays that Spanish can go for, then we defend the boom. Oh, sorry, we defend the aggression. He has to go for a boom. He'll have 5 relics, but he'll have less economy than us. So now we have to go for an all-out push. This is where getting to 200 pop is really important. Remember when I said that people just don't want to win the game? This is exactly where they mess up. Now it's go time. I'm not on defense anymore. I have the equal lead 100% because I was the guy on defense with extra economy. Unless you lost like 10 vills, or disasters happened, you will have the economy lead here. With the economy lead, you now need to regain the map. Trebs to kill the castle. You need to get your composition sorted, as fast as possible here. All right. So arbalest, bombard cannon. You have a strong combination here. And halberdiers. We have a strong combination, so we're gonna go for it. And now we're gonna look to expand with the 4th DC and just try to get myself a little bit more space in. All right, there we go. And take a look. 29 minutes Imperial Age with 100 vills. It's not the same as the pure boom, but it's good enough. And I promise you, if you do this, effectively, and you get to this point in time, you buy yourself some time with the, skirms and the, with the monks and the siege into the skirmishers, you're gonna be now in a very natural position to push this all back. We should probably go chemistry bracer first. There we go. You have the Trebs coming out, and you can afford a bare bones army. All right. And the really cool part about this is we still employ the booming guide tips. We still try to get the 200 pop as fast as possible. We still select all TCs and put them out front after we get like 100 vills, because now we're starting to get crammed at home. We still employ all of those tactics that we learned there, except we just delay it because our opponent forced us to delay it. So now our Trebs will start cooking. We have, the arbalest and the halbs being set up. And my goal is to get the 200 pop with a good composition and just roll my opponent. The reason why I put emphasis on going fast right now, so Treb will start firing at his fake castle. The reason I put emphasis on going fast here is that your opponent will likely have 5 relics. And in general, once you boom, you don't want to let your opponent, give him a chance to catch up. So for many reasons, you want to catch up and you want to go fast. And you want to put, that kind of pressure on your opponent. And don't give him a chance to get back in the game. Arbalest, chemistry, everything. At this point, there's not really much more to show. The guide is pretty much over. And this is basically how to defend against any kind of forward castle and any kind of aggression. And remember, if it's a team game, you will die, but just try to buy as much time as possible. And that's usually quite a good trade-off. Hit the 200 pop. Notice I'm not that late on 200 pop, considering I already have my composition. This is actually quite healthy, and I'm getting housed like a noob. Send my Trebs forward. The make will leave castles down. We're starting to pressure our opponents. Let's try getting more production. All right, we now have a full fleshed out comp. Heavy plow is good now, by the way. Once you stabilize, you just pick it up. Before late game, conscription's good. All right, bombard cannon can be my siege unit, for example. So now I have a full-on setup. Arbalest, halberdier, bombard cannon, and that's pretty much the perfect setup for an Imperial Age. So I'll play till 200 pop, and then I'll call the video. And I really hope you guys enjoyed it. So before I log off, I'm just going to remind you guys to check out the Patreon if you guys want more content like this. If you have any feedback for this kind of content, do let me know in the comments below. I'm going to be definitely reading it. And I just really want to help you guys out and just share my passion for the game and help you guys improve. And just have more fun with the game, really. Because like I said in my last video, if you get to this position where you're not dying to forward castle, you're just going to have more fun. If you die to forward castle, I've been there. It sucks. It's so annoying. You're trying to play correctly, get to, correctly, it's probably the wrong word to use. You're trying to play, like, the late game, trying to get to, like, a 200 pop and carry, and then you just get castle dropped by some guy who memorized the build order that he got from me. But, you know, it can be annoying. And there it is, 200 pop, 34 minutes instead of like 31 or 32. So I'm a bit delayed, but considering I was under heavy pressure and considering I had to defend myself and make army early, this is actually not a bad position to be in. And you have the full composition to pressure on your opponent and bounce back in the game. Last thing I want to say before I end the video is that this is just one example where I go skirms and defend against the conks, the conks. If my opponent has organ guns, I just do mangonels, keep myself safe, buy time. Then he goes redemption monks. Then I switch to, I don't know, maybe arbalest, crossbow to counter the monks and do okay against organs, and then still try to race the imp and push back. Every civilization or every matchup and every situation is different. But with these core concepts of buying time using monk and siege, with the walls, keep your economy safe, build to the back, all of those little concepts are going to save you so many games where you just die and you don't know where you went wrong or how you can even improve. And that's going to be it for the video. If you guys want to check out the Patreon, link in the description below. If you guys want to check out my live stream, also link in the description below on Twitch. And I look forward to your feedback in the comments below. Take a look at the timeline here. We hit 125 and 75 army. In the Paladin video, it was 150, the pure boom 150 and 50, because that's Paladin. This is cheaper composition, so you need less villagers, you get your army faster, you get your 200 pop faster. That's the difference, a little added bonus there near the end. And that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.